All return on ad spend is not the same, and in this video, I really want to drive that point home so that you can be allocating your incremental budgets as efficiently as possible to get the greatest returns out of your paid media campaigns. Now, I have to give credit for Taylor Holiday for this visual representation. I took this from him. I thought it was a great way to visually represent how incremental return on ad spend ties into audience exclusions and click attribution. So firstly, let's dive into this graph, explain how it works, so that you can have an understanding of why a 2 ROAS on this campaign is not the same as a 2 ROAS on this campaign. So on the y-axis here, we have audience exclusions. At the top, we have heavy audience exclusions to its absolute extreme, and at the bottom, we have no audience exclusions at all. How you could think about this is in the middle, we might just have purchases being excluded from a Facebook ad set, and then all the way up the top here, we have purchases excluded, as well as website visitors, as well as anyone that's engaged with Facebook or Instagram, as well as a Klaviyo list has been uploaded to. And so any kind of warm audience that we have, we exclude it. On the x-axis, we have the attribution window. And so all the way on the left side here, we have the most extreme version, which is 28-day click plus 7-day view. Now, technically on Google, we can go even further than this, and most Google conversion actions are actually set up with 90-day click windows. But let's just go for 28-day click as the absolute extreme for now. And then on the right side, we have 1-day click. And so that's the most extreme in terms of shortest possible attribution window that you can run on Meta. And then in the middle, let's say that over here, you're sitting at about 7-day click, and then over here, 7-day click and 1-day view. And so as you move through these attribution windows, you get more and more over attribution and under attribution as you scale. And then the same thing happens on the y-axis. When you have heavy audience exclusion, it's less likely for you to have any over attribution from existing warm audiences or existing customers. But then as you scale down, it's more likely that you're going to have over attribution when you don't have any audience exclusions in place. And so I've labeled these two sections here as avoid unscalable and incremental ROAS Goldilocks zone. Now, all this is meaning is that a 2 ROAS over here is not the same as a 2 ROAS over here. And the reason being is that the 2 ROAS here has come with heavy audience exclusion, so we can be fairly confident that there's no existing purchases in there, that there's no existing website visitors who are already warm that are about to buy. And we can also assume that there's no view-through attribution because it's on a 7-day click model. And so these people actually had to click on the ad and then actually bought within 7 days. Vice versa, down here, this campaign with a 2 ROAS likely has a bunch of over-attribution from view-throughs. And it also likely has a bunch of warm audiences in there that it's easily just converting at the end of the funnel that it really didn't drive front to end. And so when we go and look at our budgets, and in fact, let's move this to a 4 ROAS, we go and we get a budget increase of $2,000 or $3,000 that you want to allocate into your campaigns. A regular media buyer, a marketer, performance marketer would look at these two campaigns and go, oh, we should put all of the budget here because that's where the ROAS is. And for example, this could be a Google Performance Max campaign, and this could be a Facebook cold targeting heavy exclusion campaign. We might go, okay, all the budget needs to go there into that Performance Max. But it has no consideration of the fact that Performance Max is attributing based on 28-day click and 7-day view, and there's no audience exclusions in place. And so this is very likely just bottom of funnel, heavy retargeting, and when you try to scale it, you do not see incremental returns. Whereas up here, you put additional budget into this campaign, you might see an incremental return on back-end revenue of a 3 or a 4. And so you end up with a lot better attribution through the campaign that has the lower return on ad spend. And this is a really important concept to understand. To just provide a definition here for you, iROAS or incremental ROAS is for every new dollar that you put into campaigns on top of your existing budget, how many dollars in Shopify revenue are you actually getting out, or how many dollars in gross sales? And so you'll start to hear this terminology a lot, and it's something that obviously we use a lot in our content, which is incremental lift tests, which is that when we're looking at getting budget increases and we're looking at scaling up a brand, we want to be very focused on the actual lift, not the overarching MER or efficiency, because that doesn't show us, okay, when we actually layered in an additional $2,000 in budget, what actually happened to top line? And what I can almost guarantee you is that when you go and layer in an additional $1,000 into this campaign down here, you might only get an additional $1,000 in top line. But you go and layer $1,000 over here, you might get $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in top line. And so you get way better outsized returns on top end revenue from a campaign that seemingly looks a lot worse. And this starts to really get to its extremes in a few accounts that we're running at the moment. We have an account where we have Advantage Plus, and we've actually set our exclusion audiences to include website visitors as well. That Advantage Plus is on 7-day click, and it's currently running at a 1.2 return on ad spend. However, every time we layer an additional $1,000 a month of budget into it, we're seeing a 4K increase in top line. And this isn't based on one budget increase or two budget increases. This is based on 10 now. We are continuing to scale this brand up with a 1.2 return on ad spend in platform. Google has a 6, by the way. And we were trying to scale Google for 6 months. For 6 months straight, we were trying to scale Google up. And every time we would push budgets, top line revenue on the back end wouldn't change, and we would have to pull budgets down again. And then we would go again, it wouldn't work, we'd pull them down. We'd have to rethink, okay, do we have brand exclusions in place? Are we coming at this wrong? Should we be putting it into shopping? Trying to troubleshoot left, right, and center how to get Google to scale, because we knew Meta wasn't scalable because it was at a 1.2 ROAS. We can't scale there. But then suddenly you start putting budget into the low return on ad spend campaigns and you see outsized returns and incremental revenue lift. And it's because of heavy audience exclusion being in place and tighter conversion windows. And so now we're really indexing all of our performance in Meta towards 1-day click and 7-day click attribution. Anytime I audit an account, anytime I open up one of our clients' accounts these days, the first thing I do is I click on the columns, I click on compare attribution settings, and I open up 7-day click and 1-day click. Because I want to see what the ROAS is here, because I know that that's a much better measure of incremental lift on a campaign than general return on ad spend on a 7-day click or 1-day view, and especially better than anything on Google. And now I don't mean this video to come off as an anti-Google video. 60% of our total spend is still on Google. I still think it's a fantastic platform, but in terms of actually being able to measure incremental lift based on a return on ad spend attributed figure in Google, it's becoming very, very hard because there's just such heavy over-attribution with the conversion windows being so large and performance back's doing absolutely whatever it wants when it's targeting across multiple different channels. Whereas when you put in place heavy audience exclusion and you tighten up your attribution windows on Meta, you actually see a return on ad spend that scales incrementally. And then this also applies into Meta as a platform too. And so I'm making this video as well, and clients onboarding at the moment are probably watching this because this will be in our onboarding, is if we have your old campaigns running that were running on 7-day click and 1-day view, and you had no audience exclusion on those campaigns that your previous agency or in-house you were running, and we come in and we implement heavy audience exclusions and we tighten up your attribution windows to 7-day click, return on ad spend is going to decrease quickly and substantially. Your ROAS is probably going to go from a 6 to a 2 overnight. However, your back-end revenue will not change. In fact, it might actually improve because the conversions that are now being tracked and attributed into the campaigns are going to be cold. And so it's going to improve the machine learning models towards actual cold audiences. And then when we look to actually crank up budgets, they're going to scale. Because instead of cranking up budgets and all of that additional budget going into warm audiences that aren't scalable, they're now going to go into actual new reach. And your rolling 30-day reach is going to go up. You're going to reach new audiences and you're actually going to see lift in back-end revenue. And so it's really important to delineate that even just siloing into Facebook as a platform, return on ad spend in each campaign is not the same. If one campaign has heavy audience exclusions and the other doesn't, return on ad spend attributed means nothing. Okay, we have to take into consideration who these ads are actually being served to, how cold they are, and then what attribution window we're allowing those purchases to be attributed to in the platform.